I know it's very big in Germany. It's probably one of the crown jewels of your history, and we have a couple of those stories as well that you would never have heard about either. And I must admit, I've never read the book. I haven't read it yet. I didn't want to read it. I wanted to read the script, and I wanted to figure out what Arnaud wanted to do with this film. And he was the one who had his head down in the book, and whatever he wanted it to be and translate it into, that's what we were doing. I think the whole shooting was quite intense. We started up 2 months before we started shooting. We were riding the horses, we were discussing the script, we were meeting the other actors, we were basically living in a boot camp in the middle of nowhere in France with the horse people or the stunt guys. And obviously I had to pick up the French language, which was a major obstacle. So there was a lot for me to do. And getting acquainted with the horses, that were not always easy. They were extremely beautiful horses, and therefore extremely difficult as well. And not being a rider, it takes a while before you really feel relaxed. And I wasn't supposed to just ride the horses, I was supposed to be the king of horses, right? You know, handle it in every way. I was bringing a little pony into the world as well in the film, and so that was nothing we could plan. So the whole thing was a very intense experience. The key word was for me to feel free and do what I wanted to. If we didn't get that, they shouldn't have picked me. So there was no reason, if everything was about the language, of course. And they knew the risk, and I told them, I think you should consider to find a really good horseman who speaks perfect French. Maybe that's going to work for you guys. But Arnaud wanted me, so we made that deal that I would work my butt off. But once we start shooting, that was it. But it is obviously hard work. And it does change you slightly. There is a character within the language as well. I mean, first of all, I play the character, but I also play Mas, who's speaking French. So it's two characters, right? So I have to like unite them somehow, and it becomes a character eventually. Well, I try to find something I have in common with all the characters I play, and hopefully it's not enough, not a lot, if I play Hannibal or a crazy butcher in a Danish comedy. But I'm trying to find something that I recognize, and I believe that the journey for just and justice, that is basically the story of Kleist, is something that a lot of us recognize. The only question is how far we want to go to fulfill justice. I don't have any direct parallel with the story. I think the story obviously is taking place 500 years ago, 450 years ago. And a lot of people today will still fight and give up everything, sacrifice everything for a higher cause. That can be in the name of religion or in the name of democracy, or it can be a lot of different things. We are living in a civilized part of the world, and if that changed dramatically, as we saw during the Second World War, I have a strong feeling I would fight for that, or against that. And right now we have a peaceful period, and I'm fighting the small battles, what I believe is democracy and what I believe is freedom of speech, so I don't have to make the big battles. But if that changed, I would just have to wait and see what I would do, but I have a feeling I would fight for something, yeah. I believe, definitely as a goal, that you should try to stay focused in what you do. And if we're talking strictly about my career, I've always been a big fan of being extremely ambitious on behalf of the work I'm doing right now. But if I was ambitious on the behalf of my career, I would just be chasing a goal I would probably never get to. And everything on that path would be stepping stones. And those stepping stones would be not that important for me because the goal would be important and I would never get to the goal anyway. So that would be a strange career. I believe that the career would be at least something I can be proud of, maybe big or small, doesn't really matter, if I focus on the job I'm doing at the moment. So I'm trying to stick to that philosophy. And I think it's working. I mean, I have my taste, other people have their taste, and what I like is not necessarily what other people like, and vice versa. But it has to ring a bell in my head when I start working with something. It has to be something that draws my attention, whether it's the enthusiasm of the director or or the script is radical, or the character is interesting. It can be many different things. But if I find it cliche-ish or boring and something I have seen a billion times before, that would be a very good reason for me to say no thank you. I like theater, but I kind of love films. So there is a big difference there. Theater can be magical when it works, but it's often it doesn't work, and then you have to stay in there for 120 shows, and maybe it's not my energy. I like the change, the new scene every day, the new energy, that we're going somewhere with the project, that this is a living construction, that it doesn't become settled and then we will repeat ourselves every night. Maybe it's not my draw. I like the energy of films. I think there is something very magical about it. Being such a small country as it is, we are probably making around 20, 21 films a year. And if I'm in one of them, people are getting fed up with me. And they believe I'm in all of them. So that will be limited for me working 2 months a year, and that will be the case. So for me, it's a wonderful opportunity to have a stack of more jobs, more possibilities out there, and it's just opening up some other doors. So I might be able to work 6 months a year now. So it's practical. It's the way it works. I think I will just try to continue with what I'm doing. I think that I've been offered a great variation of different parts and different projects and different styles. So I've been one of the lucky ones that people have seen me with different eyes. And if that can continue, I'll be grateful and thankful. If that stops, obviously I'll have to rethink and do something else. But right now, it looks as if I'm getting really satisfied by the things that I'm getting offered.